it is written in Isaiah the prophet, "Look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way."
Welcome to BT. My name is Jared, and today we are continuing our Easter week talks as part of our Messages of Hope series. Today's message is called Cries and Hope. There has been tears during this pandemic. There will be tears ahead. There are tears during Easter as we reflect on the death of Christ. In today's story, we will see the tears of a woman who has lost a close relative that she loves. Almost everyone knows those tears. Let's look to the next section of the story, and let's look to Jesus to see if we might find some hope in those tears. We are reading from verse 28 of John chapter 11. Before we dive into that, just a quick recap. Lazarus, a friend of Jesus, is sick. Mary and Martha, his sisters, send word to Jesus and his disciples that he is ill. Jesus, who is far away, delays in coming to help. When he arrives, Lazarus has already been dead for days. He speaks with Martha, Jesus speaks with Martha, who's frustrated that Jesus didn't arrive sooner, but she also confesses that even now she believes in Jesus. And that brings us up to verse 28. So here's John 11, verse 28. When she had said this, Martha, went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" And they said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" So after Martha sees Jesus, she goes and tells Mary, "The teacher is here and he's calling for you." Mary has stayed away from Jesus in her grief, but when she hears that Jesus is calling, she is raised and goes to meet him. The word here for getting up, for Mary getting up, that was translated raise, and that's actually from a scholar, Dale Bruner's commentary. That word is the same word used in Matthew, Mark, and Luke to declare that Jesus has been risen from the grave. The dead need raising, but the ones who mourn the dead need some raising too. Mary's going through the loss of a loved one, and when someone you love dies, part of you dies too. And for you to move forward will involve some transformation. You'll go through some death and rebirth within yourself as you move forward. And I believe the hope of that happening well is to hear the call of Jesus in the midst of that sorrow. The call of Jesus is a starting point that raises Mary in this grief-filled moment. The word from Jesus, or the word that Jesus is calling her, raises her up in her despair. So Mary comes, and she brings a similar complaint and confession as Martha. She says, "Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died." Jesus sees her tears, and he is greatly moved. Jesus is the God who is greatly moved by the agony of others. This is the same Jesus that said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." The path to the kingdom is a tear-stained path. The king is moved by the tears. Jesus asks where the body is, and the mourners say, "Come and see." I love that they say, "Come and see." The Gospel of John opens with a poem declaring that Jesus is the Word from the beginning. And with him is light and life. He's the author of life, the Word, the voice that speaks creation into being. And Jesus arrives in our world. He takes on human flesh. He begins to meet and call his disciples. And they ask, are you the one? They ask each other, is this the one? And the answer that's given in John 1 is come and see, come and see, come and see. They come and see, and they find that in Jesus is life and light. Now the Word, the one who was with God and the one who is God, is told by humans to come and see. Jesus, we came and saw that you are the one, but you come and see our human problem. Jesus, you come and see. Jesus comes and sees. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. The Word became flesh and showed up at the funeral. The light and the life comes and sees the darkness and the death. Jesus comes and he sees the human problem and he weeps. Jesus weeps. Jesus cries. Jesus bawls. Human suffering and death causes Jesus deep sadness. Jesus has come and he has seen the darkness and the death. We have a God who is moved by human grief, a God who mourns with those who mourn. This scene ends with one observation from the crowd. They say, look how Jesus loves. I think there's some hope in the tears today when we remember how much he loves. Look how much Jesus loves. And then the crowd has one question. Couldn't he do something? If he could open the eyes of the blind, can he also prevent death? Martha wondered this, Mary wondered this, and some from the crowd wonder this. This final observation and question from the crowd, I think is a good, simple way to come to Jesus with our grief and frustration. To come to Jesus and say, Jesus, we know that you see and that you love deeply, but Jesus, can you do something? I look at this pandemic and what's going on in this world, and I know that Jesus loves this world deeply. I know he's moved and grieved. But I also want to go to him and say, Jesus, can you do something? Jesus, you are the healer who loves. Come and do something. So keep crying your tears today. Jesus has those tears too. Remember how deep his love is and keep going to him, asking him to do something. You can cast all of your cares on him because he cares for you. Okay, so that's the official BT message of hope today. But I want to share with you a bit about Easter weekend plans. So this is kind of an informational section of BT. Our BT crew has been brainstorming about special things we could do for Easter. We wanted to come up with some ways to engage the season faithfully. So one thing we're going to do is to have a sunrise service Easter morning. And that will launch at 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The hope is that lots of folks will get up and go to a place to see the sunrise, and we can all celebrate the resurrection together virtually. We're inviting people to make their own communion and bring it. And you can go to our social media pages this week and you can see all the details and figure out how to best plan for that. So search Branch Together and Branch Church NJ and you'll be able to find all of that. So that's a heads up on Easter morning. We've also decided to do something for Easter Saturday, or what is called Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday is the day between Good Friday, where Jesus dies, and Easter morning, where Jesus returns from the grave. On Saturday, Jesus is dead. He's in the tomb. He's not with us. It is the space between where there is a lot of sadness because the beloved one is dead and gone. But for the Christians who know the story, there is some hope in this sad day because we believe that Sunday is coming. So here is what we want to do on this day. We're going to make this a day to share stories and honor some of our own personal deceased loved ones who have shown us the love and hope of Jesus. We are sad. We miss these ones we love and who have loved us with the love of Christ. So Saturday will be a day where we take some time to remember them, to share their stories, and declare our hope that though it's Saturday, the Resurrection Sunday is coming. We grieve that we miss them, but we also live with expectant hope that the risen Jesus will call them and us to life again one day. So how do we do that on Saturday? A few ways. You could write a little bit about them, share a story or two, say thank you to them, and then share it with us and post it on Facebook or Instagram. You can make a short video where you share some of your thoughts about these folks who you love so much and have shown you Christ, and then share that on social media. I'll do that, and I will share that on Saturday. You could write a letter to them and maybe even bring it to their gravesite or something like that. Those are some options. Feel free to be creative. The main goal is for each of us to take some time and reflect on those we love and miss. Easter Saturday is a time to embrace that sadness, but to also say thank you for those we love and miss, and live with that hope that they've pointed us to the ultimate hope, who is Christ, our ultimate hope in life and death. Now, we would love to share in this together, so please consider participating. These BT videos are such a one-way street, but we would love to hear your stories. We'd love to hear about the people in your life that impacted you and showed you the hope of Jesus. We want to honor and celebrate them with you. So if you decide to participate publicly, please include the hashtag BT Sundays Coming. That is hashtag BT Sundays Coming. This will help us share our stories with one another. Okay, one last thing, real quick. We made an Easter Week Facebook group, so you can hop into that as well. It's called Easter Week Branch Together. Easter Week Branch Together. You can find that on Facebook, and we've been doing a lot more on Instagram this week too. So come find us on social media and join the conversation. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Sorry that was a bit long, and we'll see you next time on BT.